Anamika,
Yes,
where
ma'am.
are you? See, it is 10 o'clock. You have still not given your video. It has been 2 weeks, Anamika.
Sorry for the late, ma'am, but
So,
but
all of you,
the
please.
video is ready, ma'am.
Okay, so all of you, please look at her innocent face. She is Dr. Anamika, fellow of this year, and I am Dr. Diksha Pandey. You all are watching
Urogyn
Urogynecology for
beginners.
Beginners. So, supposedly she has finished her video, and what video is that, Anamika?
Ma'am, today video is on non-decent vaginal hysterectomy.
Okay, but non-descent vaginal hysterectomy, already so many videos are there. Do you have something special to tell about NDVH today?
Yes, ma'am. I think that the NDVH is the art of vaginal hysterectomy, and for me, the best incision is no incision at all. So I just want to tell you about all surgical pulse tips and tricks I learned from you in this video.
Okay, so she wants to tell me many tips and tricks. I'm sure that those tips and tricks are also going to help you. So keep watching
Keep watching.
Urogynecology for
For
Beginners.
beginners.
Can you predict whether a hysterectomy can be done vaginally before entering the OT? These 8 simple checkpoints will help you choose the right patient for non-decent vaginal hysterectomy. We will first start with history. One previous vaginal delivery is a positive sign. Previous major abdominal surgery or severe endometriosis may indicate adhesions and increased difficulty. On examination, a non-palpable uterus is ideal. Look for any adnexal mass. On pelvic examination, if the cervix is easily visible with the seam speculum, it's one of the strongest indicator for successful NDVH. Check for posterior fornix fullness, which may suggest an obliterated pouch of Douglas. On ultrasound, a uterus with all dimensions less than 10 cm is usually straightforward for vaginal removal. Always rule out adnexal pathology and assess whether ovarian removal is required, as vaginal oophorectomy is technically more demanding. On placing the seam speculum, if the cervix is not visible, appreciate that you are dealing with a technically more challenging case. First step is infiltration. Tips and tricks for infiltration are: keep the needle at an angle of 15 to 30 degree to avoid deep injection. Look for blanching and tissue elevation, a sign of correct hydrodissection. Infiltrate around 50 ml of cold diluted adrenaline solution. 1 ml of adrenaline plus 200 ml of cold normal saline are mixed to form the infiltration. Second step is transverse incision. Tips and tricks for transverse incision is: keep the incision 1.5 cm away from the external os. Use monopolar cautery for simultaneous cutting and hemostasis. Avoid extending the incision beyond the 10 to 2 o'clock position to reduce the risk of vascular injury. Third step is opening of POD. Approximately 3 cm from the os, tent and nick technique is applied. Nick exactly in the center of the tent to maximize the distance from the rectum. Once POD is entered, reposition the posterior retractor to improve exposure for subsequent pedicle clamping. Relieve the bilateral uterosacral ligament by giving an incision on posterior cervix. In NDVH, exposure is everything. Long retractors create depth, lateral retractors create width, and broad, thin, flat retractors create space. Better retraction means better anatomy, safer dissection, and a smoother hysterectomy. The uterosacral neck and rod ligament complex is identified on each side and one at a time clamped, cut, and transfixed using Vicryl number 1 suture. An important difference from vaginal hysterectomy for prolapse here is do not separate the vaginal epithelium from the ligament complex. This preserves native apical support and often eliminates the need for additional walled suspension. Once the ligament complex is divided, the ureter moves away from the operative field, making subsequent steps safer. The posterior retractor is used to retract the rectum posteriorly, and the small anterior retractor is used to retract the bladder anteriorly. For pedicle dissection, cut in bits and pieces in L shape, use scissor, then monopolar or knife. Tight and secure knots are important for hysterectomy. Prolapse surgery, think support. Keep the uterosacral suture long. In routine NDVH, think pedicle security. Once tied, they can usually be cut short unless a wall suspension is planned. Step 5 is opening the utrovesical fold. Dissect approximately 1.5 to 2 cm of pubocervical fascia from the anterior cervix. Adequate facial dissection before searching for UV fold make dissection much easier. Sixth step is uterine artery ligation. Identify the uterine artery at the level of internal os. Keep the clamp close to the uterus. Ensure both anterior and posterior pouches are adequately opened before clamping. If access is difficult, as in our case, opening the one pouch, usually the posterior pouch, will improve the exposure for ligation of uterine vessel. Same steps are to be repeated on the other side. Take uterine artery and vein together, cut in bits and pieces in L-shaped manner, followed by transfixate the uterine artery pedicle. The UV fold is identified as a thin layer of peritoneum. Make a small nick in the center. Stretch the opening laterally with scissors or fingers to enter the vesico-uterine space. Advance the anterior retractor into the space. Step 7. Uterine morcellation in NDVH. Uterine morcellation is all about creating space while maintaining safety. Here are three simple techniques to remember. First, hemisection or bisection. Second, wedge morcellation. Third, coring. Important tip here is don't force the uterus out. Reduce its size step by step. Controlled morcellation creates space, improves visualization, and makes NDVH safer. Reduce the overall uterine bulk. Continue with hemi dissection. Do advance the bulldog. Help the uterus to be delivered through the introitus. Don't force the uterus out. Reduce its size step by step. Grasp the fibroid and the myomectomy is performed to reduce the uterine size. Do not chase the cornual pedicle. Adequate uterine debulking, gentle traction, and clamping close to the uterus are the secrets to a safe and bloodless NDVH. The cornual pedicle will automatically come to you. Move the fibroid to reduce the bulk of uterus. Step 8 is cornual structure. Apply the clamp close to the uterine cornua, incorporating the round ligament, fallopian tube, and ovarian ligament. Staying close to the uterus protects the ureter and minimizes bleeding. Double clamping and double ligation are recommended for the cornual pedicle as it involves securing three structures at once. These structures are usually located high in the pelvis and have a tendency to retract if not properly secured. Slippage can make them difficult to retrieve, increasing the risk of complications. lateral free tie, and medial transfixate the pedicle. Step 9 is salpingectomy. With traction on the corneal structure pedicle, a Babcock forceps is used to lift the fallopian tube, and a long artery forceps to clamp the mesosalpinx, which is cut and then ligated. Prophylactic salpingectomy is a recent addition to the surgical procedure of NDVH after the emergence and popularization of the serous tubal intraepithelial carcinoma theory. Same steps to be repeated on the contralateral side, corneal structure to be doubly clamped and doubly ligated. Point to be taken care here is take the lateral suture as a free tie and the medial one as a transfixation suture. Now, the most important part of surgery is hemostasis. Hemostasis is checked with underwater visualization. Underwater visualization is the best technique to check for active bleeding, as pulling the pedicle can lead to the intractable bleeding, which is very difficult to control later on. Step 10 is closure of vaginal cuff. After checking the hemostasis and counting the instruments and mobs, the vaginal vault is held with 4 long Ellis forceps. The vault is closed with number 1 vicryl suture in a running interlocking fashion. 'Always keep in mind the best incision is no incision, while the future of surgery embraces robotics and laparoscopy. The most elegant hysterectomy often remains one performed through nature's own pathway. Additionally, it is associated with the lowest risk of complications, minimal dependence on technology, and earliest recovery rates. The final look after the vault closure. 10 steps to surgical excellence. Ancillary interventions for complex cases and technical difficulties. Thank you for watching.